Midweek and welcome to Prime Business with me, Emma Davis. Let's settle for the details. Inflation for the month of February 2024 slowed down to 23.2% from 23.5% recorded in January 2024. The key drivers for the ease in inflation were alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics, as well as restaurants and accommodation services. Eastern region was once again the region with the highest rate of inflation of 36.1%. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim provides more details.
According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, the non-food inflation declined to 20% in February 2024 from 20.5% in January 2024. Food inflation, however, shot up marginally to 27.1% in February 2024 from 27% in January 2024. The month-on-month inflation between January 2024 and February 2024 was 1.6%. Inflation for locally produced items in February 2024 stood at 24.6%, whilst inflation for imported items was 20.1%. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim.
In the month of February 2024, the rate of inflation stood at 23.2%. This year-on-year rate of inflation signifies that over a one-year period, that is between February 2023 and February 2024, prices of goods and services have gone up by 23.2%. This 23.2% is a reversal of the marginal increase that we recorded in the month of January 2024, when the slowdown that we had successively recorded for the last 7 months saw a marginal increase to 23.5%. In reverse, we have turned around this increase for January 2024 to a reverse of 23.2% for the month of February 2024.
Eastern region was once again the region with the highest rate of inflation of 36.7%. OT region, however, recorded the lowest rate of inflation of 13.1%. The Greater Accra and Ashanti regions recorded inflation rates of 13.5% and 22.2% respectively. Meanwhile, 7 divisions recorded inflation rates higher than the national average. They are alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics, restaurants and accommodation services, personal care, social protection and miscellaneous goods and services, health, food and non-alcoholic beverages, recreation, sports and culture, and furnishings, household equipment and routine household maintenance.
Meanwhile, economist Dr. Patrick Isume has indicated that despite a marginal drop in inflation, the Bank of Ghana is likely to exercise caution and will not reduce the monetary policy rate. He believes the drop in inflation is unlikely to impact the policy rates going forward due to the slow disinflation pressures.
I think the marginal drop shouldn't really affect the policy rates, because when the rate was reduced, the current rate of inflation was just about the same as we have now. I think that the initial reduction that we saw at the last meeting was a little too early. It was a little premature, I think. So I expect that having reduced it and the expected disinflation at the time has not continued. So I believe that the BOG, the MPC, will be a little cautious in bringing further reduction. So I don't expect that they will reduce it at all. There's a strong chance that we could see an increment. I think I was actually expecting that we could have seen a marginal increment this particular reading. So it was a little bit of a pleasant surprise that it was a marginal drop instead. I think, especially from the beginning of February, we've seen some pressures begin to build. We've seen the currency fluctuate a little, lose a little bit of ground. And then I think through the last 2 pricing windows, we've seen fuel prices go up. Now, because of the pass-through effect takes some time, you expect that this will take a little bit of time for us to see its impact. So there's a chance that we might see some small increment. But definitely the steady disinflation that we saw toward the end of the year, it appears that it stalled a little bit. So on the back of all of this, I don't expect that the BOG will continue with the easing of the monetary policy rate.
Away from inflation, the Chief Executive Officer of the Volta Aluminium Company, Titus Glover, has stated that the company will play a crucial middle role when the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation starts operations. President Akufo-Addo, during the 67th Independence Day celebration, announced 2 strategic partners for the corporation. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Glover said there is a need for a strong aluminium manufacturing sector to operate as off-takers when GIADEC starts work.
We are in the middle. We have the upstream, that is where they produce the bauxite before it's sent outside to be processed. The integrated aluminum industry that the president is pushing so hard, VACO is in the middle. So the upstream, where you have this bauxite production, currently GIADEC, our mother company that supervises VACO, recently had an investor to partner government to process the raw bauxite into alumina. When that is done, we'll not go and ship all the way from overseas and bring the alumina here. So when it is done, it brings to VACO. That is where we used to produce aluminium.
President of the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Dr. George Ajekum Donko, has called on business leaders to position themselves to adapt to future eventualities. According to him, the recent external shocks such as COVID-19 pandemic and other domestic shocks have shaken the foundations of most businesses in Ghana and beyond. He was speaking at the Future Ready Leadership Summit organized by the Nobel Business International School.
The Future Ready Leadership Summit by the Nobel Business International School brought together industry leaders, experts and innovators to deliberate on how to build more impactful businesses. The summit was themed Reimagining Leadership in a World of Unrelenting Change. Delivering his address, President of the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Dr. George Ajekum Donko, emphasized the need for a two-pronged approach to future readiness in anticipation of future scenarios to facilitate timely reactions.
No one anticipated that any of these global events would happen at the time they did. Yet businesses had to contend with their fallouts. This explains why businesses will have to prepare themselves for future eventualities, be they expected or otherwise. And it goes without saying that leadership is at the center of it all. The uncertainties of the times. We live in a fast-paced world, one which is characterized by constant change on the back of dynamic factors such as the macroeconomic business conduct, consumer preferences, third-party operational risks, the environment, natural disasters, geopolitical factors, health issues, government policies and regulations.
President and founder of the Nobel Business International School, Professor Kweku Etiahine-Jima, also underscored the need for businesses to reevaluate their leadership structures and make necessary changes.
How do you, as a leader, ensure that your organization exists today, be successful today, and at the same time be successful tomorrow? The reason for that question is that we all know recent events have shown us that some companies that were supposed to be so successful collapsed. So you ask yourself, what is the reason for that? And the reason for that is that there are some leaders that tend to focus on what is happening today, building the systems, the right routines, the right personnel to succeed today. But they fail to prepare for tomorrow. And my own research suggests that the reason for that word is that you build your competence and capability to succeed. But if you are not renewing and changing them as the environment changes, then the same things that you're doing today that make you successful then kills you later on.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, encouraged businesses to be adaptive in challenging times in order to maintain their operations.
Scholars and leaders and ordinary citizens like myself undoubtedly acknowledge that the pandemic period was one of the most disruptive periods in most organizations. For most of us that have business continuity plans, a lot of us have kept our business continuity plans as our spare tires. Most of us have not tried them. and really we were found wanting. I'm wondering again, like Randy, I'm wondering whether, with what COVID has done and taught us, how have we changed that whole attitude of business continuity, about preparing for the future, disruptions? How have we prepared? And have we taken advantage of that challenge? Now, despite its untold negatives, one of the few plus points from the pandemic was that it reinforced the importance of building change capabilities within our organizations, all in an effort to ensure that we are all future ready.
Businesses were also urged to invest in enhancing their compliance with environmental, social, and governance requirements, which are essential for today's financial market.
The Chief Executive Officer for the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Kwesi Agyeman, has assured of more improved services from accountants and members of the Institute. This follows a decision by the Institute to strengthen its regulatory oversight. Mr. Agyeman spoke to journalists after a short ceremony to break ground for the third phase of its multi-purpose office building in Accra. The following report has more.
The existing edifice housing the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana has no space to accommodate the committees, which are expected to boost the efficiency of accountants. According to the Chief Executive, Kwesi Agyeman, the new building, when completed, will help educational programs as well as positioning the Institute as a professional body. He believes that more infrastructure is needed to make its regulatory work easier.
As I was saying earlier, the new law has established some 3 statutory committees. One of them is the APRC, another one is PASC, and a disciplinary committee. These are independent statutory bodies. When you come to the old structure, you do not get a space for some of these committees to function. The new structure is rooms for offices and then halls, meeting rooms that these statutory and independent committees can also access and then go through their business without interrupting with the main activities of the Institute. And on the other side, the staff and other members of the Institute also not disturbing the operations of these committees. Yeah, so the new law really strengthening the regulatory arm of the Institute, establishing these committees, and the new project is making room for these committees, among other things that will be held in the facility.
Meanwhile, Mr. Agyeman disclosed the committee's work will be manifested in the next few months to ensure discipline in the sector.
We do not even need to wait for 2-3 years. Within the next couple of months, we will get some responses or some reaction or results of the activities of these committees. 2 of them act as investigative bodies, and then we have a disciplinary committee. And these have been set up also meeting the requirements of the International Federation of Accountants Code of Ethics, which is a code that gets every accountant in the whole world to go by, and then we cannot get ourselves out of that.
The new building project is expected to be ready in 12 months.
The Standard Chartered Bank's Future of Trade reports projects a rapid double-digit growth for Ghana through 2035. According to the country head of client coverage at Standard Chartered, the report will help clients and businesses of the bank to capitalize on the $3 trillion African market through the continental free trade area. Here's more.
Standard Chartered has actively participated in Africa's growth and development for more than 150 years, contributing to the continent's financial infrastructure and economic development. According to the country head of client coverage at Standard Chartered Bank, Jose Goji, the launch of the bank's Future of Trade report with a spotlight on the African continental free trade area offers insight on the opportunities available for clients and businesses of the bank on after.
Companies need to know that there's something called after. As you heard today, a number of them do not even understand the processes they have to go through. Some of them actually thought that you have to be registered and after, right? But it's not like that. So the first thing is a thought leadership. Explaining to these clients what opportunities there are, and also how they can take advantage of it. So first of all, it's a thought leadership. And then the second part is obviously being a bank. We want to be able to take these clients along. We want to be part of their journey. A lot of clients show resilience today. Our clients are able to trade beyond the shores of Ghana, beyond the borders of Ghana. They become a lot more bigger, better, and financially resilient as well. So it gives us the opportunity as a bank also to put our products, great products, provide solutions for these clients when they are taking advantage of after, be it collections, be it financing of increased production capacities and all that.
AfTA creates the world's largest trade area by market with a combined GDP of $3 trillion. This, Mr. Godi believes, Ghana isn't left out.
Network is one of our biggest competitive advantages as a bank. We link companies from other parts of the world into Africa, and also from Africa into other parts of the world as well. AfTA is quite unique because it is trade intra-Africa, right? We have a number of advantages, key advantages in Ghana, right? If you look at our agri-sector, for instance, agri-sector is growing. There are a lot of products that can be packaged from Ghana into other parts of Africa, for instance, right? If you look at our manufacturing sector, a number of the new developments are going on. You have pharmaceutical companies, you have manufacturers in tiles, in some packaging, products also, and also some fast-moving consumer goods that can also be exported beyond the shores of Ghana. So all those opportunities are there for Ghanaian businesses to take advantage of.
The Future of Trade report projects that Ghana's trade corridors with its Western African neighbors are expected to experience rapid double-digit growth through 2035.
Let's stay a little longer on AfTA, as the Ghana International Investment, Trade and Finance Conference has inaugurated the Student Club of the conference with the hope of realizing the full implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The chapter at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology will deepen the understanding of young people on AfTA and its implications for Africa's economic landscape.
Advocacy for the urgent implementation of trade finance policy reforms has been high in recent times after the activation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The AfTA represents a milestone agreement aimed at facilitating economic integration, promoting intra-African trade, and unlocking the immense potential of diverse economies of Africa. And economies across the region boost output in the services. The establishment of the GIFIC AfTA Tertiary Student Club from University of Science and Technology underscores the commitment of stakeholders to actively engage and empower the youth for their roles. The inaugurated GIFIC AfTA Tertiary Student Club will deepen understanding of the AfTA and perpetuate the culture of collaboration and networking among students. Chief Executive Officer of Ghana International Investment, Trade and Finance Conference, Selassie Kofi Akom, says the mentorship on AfTA will facilitate self-employment drive.
The AFCFTA not only facilitates the movement of goods and services, but also creates a conducive environment for entrepreneurship to thrive by providing mentorship with aim to inspire and empower students to harness their creativity and entrepreneurial spirit to drive positive change and create sustainable impact in their various communities. Lastly, our club seeks to promote active engagement in discussions and initiatives related to trade, development, and sustainable growth. We believe that by encouraging dialogue, debate, and critical thinking, we can contribute to shaping and frameworks that are inclusive, equitable, and beneficial to our stakeholders.
The event followed a public lecture on the theme Empowering the University Community with AfTA Vision. Chairman of the GIFIC AfTA Tertiary Student Club and Managing Director of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company, Edward Alfred Provincial, is encouraging members of the club to tap into the opportunities.
As members of the GIFIC AFCFTA Club, you have the unique privilege of being at the forefront of a movement that seeks to redefine the future of Africa's economic destiny. I encourage you to actively participate in club activities, engage in meaningful dialogue, and leverage your skills and talents to contribute to the club's mission and objectives. By becoming a member of our club, you gain access to a wealth of resources, networking opportunities, and platforms for personal and professional growth.
The executives of the new GIFIC After KNUST Chapter Club were sworn into office. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yabwa.
And here I am, Emma Davis. Moving on, the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber has expressed concern about the high cost of doing business. According to the president of the chamber, Grant Weber, it is imperative for businesses to manage their costs effectively in order to withstand these challenging times. He spoke to Joy Business at the 3rd Rainbow Nations Challenge.
The Ghana South African Business Chamber's Rainbow Nations Challenge was organized to foster deeper relations between members and the international business community. The challenge, which involves tennis matches, included 56 players from 20 countries. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines, President of the Ghana South African Business Chamber, Grant Weber, bemoaned the unfavorable economic conditions that their businesses are grappling with.
Well, I don't think the economy is picking up. In fact, if anything, it's probably more difficult. So for our members, it's a tough time. I think it's not easy whether you're a big or a small company. And that's another reason why we do have these networking events, is to make sure that we give our members as much opportunity for outreach with the other international businesses here in Ghana. Well, you've got to be resilient at the moment. It's obvious that you've got to have your costs under control until such time as sales, you're able to generate more sales. So if you're very disciplined and organized, look after your cash flow, really cherish your customers, and maybe even have a regional approach where you use Ghana as the springboard to the countries around here. And I think if you can get that right and you're selling the right product or service, you're able to get through this difficult time.
Vice President of the Chamber, Chris Everett, said the challenge presents members with the opportunity to exercise and ensure their general well-being.
We moved over, it's a time of COVID that made everybody more conscious to be healthy as well. So we started to play tennis and we started to do it on a small scale, and then we ended up in the first year with a perfect amount of 56 players with 22 nationalities. And now that we are in the third one consecutively with 56 players, we have more ladies as well. We've got 9 ladies on this team as well. We are very proud of them to be part of them as well. I perceive it as an excellent springboard for men and women in business, diplomatic environment, to be healthy and to get connected with others.
The Ghana South African Business Chamber consists of members from the mining, trade, financial services, real estate, and energy sectors respectively.
That'll be all for tonight on Prime Business. I am Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Our top stories there for you. February 2024, inflation slows down to 23.2%. African Development Bank boss criticizes opaque loans tied to Africa's natural resources. Do visit the site and be updated. Again, I am Emma Davis. Have a good evening. I leave you with international business.